Hi everyone, it's Alta here, and I am so delighted to have you join me in today's video to learn a little bit more on why are you interested in a sabbatical and the concept of it, and why are you even watching this video, and what is calling your attention, what's behind this process of you starting to dig deeper into the topic. So it's a really key one before we move on into any other step, and this is why this is at the top of the course. So I will highly suggest that you shut down your phone or that you put it in airplane mode, and that all other devices are not really distracting you, so you can really tune in and make yourself comfortable to go through these couple of exercises that we're about to do. So with that said, let's get started. All right, so before we begin, the one disclaimer I have is that I suggest you watch this video in speed 1.5 or 2 if you want to get through it faster. And the second disclaimer is that this module is to explore your curiosity and to basically really tune in on why you are curious about a sabbatical, as well as understanding if by the end of this video your reason is clear enough or not. And it's important to also call out that this is agnostic of whether if you are basically in an early stage of getting familiarized with the concept of it, or if you're further down the line and already executing some of the steps in order to bring it to reality, because it doesn't hurt to really tune in and solidify the reasoning of it, because this is going to be the heart, the foundation that will matter the most to better understand how you're going to build and craft this plan in order to bring it to reality to the best of your ability. And the last thing is that I really encourage you and invite you to come with an open imagination and to let down your guard and come without any expectations as you start getting exposed to the different types of sabbaticals and the different, things that you can do in order to listen to your wants and needs. So with that said, let's move on to our agenda for today. And the first one is that we're really going to dive deeper into the importance of finding your why, and why this matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to this planning process. As you can imagine, that building habits, it's already like a big process on its own, and cultivating and mastering and optimizing them. And so it is for also planning a sabbatical, because it can be a really big, hefty goal. And the second thing that it's gonna come up is the types of sabbaticals that we are going to be exploring, as well as then switching from less of the theory and more into finding what is your why, and going through a couple of prompt questions in order to get the process started. So with that said, let's kick it in. So finding your why. Knowing your why really helps with commitment, as I was just mentioning. Now that some people can take days or weeks or years to master habits, and with this big goal, it's going to really help you stay grounded to the reasoning behind you are making this commitment to the process, and keeping you accountable to upholding the momentum so you can get through it in the most smooth way as possible. And it's going to be your compass, your guiding star, as well as it will feed your motivation for the planning. And see, whether you are a spontaneous person that likes to play it by ear, or you like to plan things to a T and have everything already mapped out ahead of time, there is a minimum amount of planning that needs to be done before heading into a sabbatical in order to make the most out of it. So it doesn't matter where you fall on the end of the planning spectrum or what type of persona you are in. So this motivation is really gonna be fuel for you to come back and know why you're doing what you're doing. And it's gonna take time. It's gonna take, effort, commitment, and researching. So you really need to have fun with it, because planning can be fun and it can be exciting, and it's a process that you're meant to enjoy. So and this is like from my own learning too, because I had a couple of moments when I was doing my own planning that it was a lot of fun, but then there were other moments that it wasn't so fun. And I think that I want to help people make the process more enjoyable. Had I known the things that I know now, it would have been a little bit easier. So I want people to really embrace and bring in the energy that they want to bring into their sabbatical, into the planning process, and start tuning in with that energy, because the transition then from going from the day-to-day that you have right now into your time off, it's going to be more seamless and smooth. And then the third thing is that a clear why will help with decision making, whether it is during the planning process, the transition, or during the sabbatical. And trust me, this is a really big one. A really, really big one, because you're gonna have to deal with so many decisions, given the fact that you're gonna be stepping into a new routine and a new way of living, and new things will come up that you may not expect, or I may not even expect, even if we go through the process and help you plan with this. So this is, again, the compass. Very important to remember. And now, as for the exciting part, the types of sabbaticals are basically divided in 4 categories. And the first one is the resting phase. And this one is so important, especially because in many cases, people do take sabbaticals as a result of incredible, overwhelmed, burned out, and exhaustion, and they need to really recoup and make sure that they basically focus on their mental health, their physical health, and do that recovery of potential burnout if that's the case. So this one is super key to remember, because is the one phase that will enable you to step into the other types of sabbaticals. Because if you're coming super tired and then you want to go do all these other things that you've been dreaming of for the last couple of months or years, then the question is, where are you going to get the fuel from within? Where are you going to get the energy from? So it's super key to remember that resting, it's key. And to be honest with you, this was my biggest mistake, and something that I want to help people with planning when they're crafting their sabbaticals, because I made the mistake to have been going through this incredible period of just internal, delayed, overwhelmed for a couple of months, and I had so much going on, and all I was thinking of was my sabbatical and the resting phase. And for a couple of different reasons, I ended up going into a very high intense, fast paced transition from working to my time off, where it was quite a lot for me at the end of the day, because I was super excited, to want to go and sightsee and travel and visit all these places that I have had on my bucket list. But then looking back, I think it would have been way better to have that bridge between my sabbatical and my work period to really focus on the rest that I needed. And I was able to still go to the phase of resting, but it was after the first couple of weeks. And it's definitely super important to make sure that this is one that is the foundation for the other types of sabbaticals. And the second one is the exploratory one. And this is a super exciting one, and the one that I automatically jumped into because I'm a really big, explorer. I love to go, I call myself the Earth Explorer, to be honest with you, and I just love going out and trying and seeing new things. So this one is super fun, and you can basically go to new places, new countries, check out new communities, new societies, become a digital nomad. And for me, it's been a really eye-opening experience to discover this whole new world that it's happening around in terms of pop-up cities and startup societies. Think of it as in like a startup company. So now we have a bunch of startup societies as well happening all over the world. And in fact, I'm currently in one right now. It's called the Network SKOOL, and it's near Singapore. And I'm learning so many things, meeting so many interesting and very smart people. And it's been definitely life-changing to be exposed to these other ways of, people living and exploring the world. But it took quite a few months for me to get to where I am. And it wasn't really my intention. No one told me this was a thing until I discover it later down the road. And even though I'm out of my sabbatical time right now, it's something that I want to put forward for others like yourself who are interested, so right out of the gates on all of the possibilities of things and places that you can try, go see and do and explore. And lastly, the exploration doesn't only need to be out external, but also internal, because we get to know ourselves way more in a deeper level when we are, focusing on us. And there are less variables around, work or expectations or errands or responsibilities that we need to have. So it can be a really beautiful one, to really tap into. And then the third type of sabbatical is for those of you who like achieving things, and there can be many of us here. I was definitely identifying myself in this category as well. And although it's a really tempting one, I think that it has its due place and time. Remember, it's due place and time, especially if you come from a phase where you needed rest. So for those that want to achieve something, usually it's for people who want to work on a new project, a new hobby, test out a new side hustle as well, or learn new skills that you have been longing to for quite some time. Or also a really popular one can be starting your own business and playing around with ideas and bringing things into reality. So this one is super key to also do after the resting phase if you need to have some sort of rest and recharging. Super important to remember that. And for the last type of sabbatical is for those ones who want to spend time nurturing any sort of relationship. And that can be taking care of a loved one that may need assistance for whatever reason that may be, or simply spending time with family or friends for that lack of time and companionship that you or them may be longing, as well as volunteering for a community or a special cause as well. So a really, really, really key one to remember that it can be for those of you who, want to prioritize different thing in this stage of your life. And as you can start seeing these 4 types of sabbaticals, you notice how every person may need different things too, and that's okay. So you don't have to do all 4. You don't just have to do one. It's really up to you. The world is your oyster. So that's something that we're going to be diving deeper into as we go along in order to help you craft the right type of sabbatical that you want, as well as, when you're mapping out your goals, making sure that those fit in within your overall strategy plan. And as you choose the right formula for your sabbatical in order to avoid any big stressors or challenges or frustrations, because a sabbatical is meant to be joyful and fun, not supposed to be, the other way around, you will basically assure that your plan is fully crafted and built out, mixed up with your formula, your needs, your wants, and your essence. And as you start putting this together, you basically will have the right direction and the compass for where is you want to go. And in order to have the right clarity on your why, we can start doing an exercise. And the first question, and please take this very seriously, is what about a sabbatical draws my attention? And you're more than welcome to pause this video as you take whatever time is needed in order to get the answer that you need. You can either write it down on paper or simply think about it. The second question then is, who do you see becoming when you imagine having that time off? And lastly, what do you envision getting during the time off? Why is that important to you? And with that said, I really do invite you to share in the discussion section in the SKOOL community on what is your why and who do you see yourself becoming? Is your reason clear, or do you need more help with that? Thank you for your time, and I can't wait to hear what you think about needing more guidance or being clear enough on your own why. See you later.